7 black SUVs roll slowly down Maple Street at dusk, stopping outside a weathered apartment building in Harper's Mill, where Michael Donovan, a worn-out construction worker, opens his door to find Sarah Collins, a polished, successful woman he doesn't immediately recognize. "5 years ago, you gave me your last $20 outside Palmer's grocery," she says, emotion catching in her voice as curious neighbors and well-dressed professionals gather behind her. "That $20 saved my life, and I've been searching for you ever since." Michael's expression shifts from confusion to recognition as he takes in the convoy outside and the determined woman before him. "I'm here to return the favor," Sarah continues, "but not just $20, Mr. Donovan. You're about to discover what happens when an act of kindness finds its way back to the person who needed it the most." Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The alarm clock buzzes at 4:45 a.m., its harsh sound cutting through the pre-dawn darkness of a small apartment on the west side of Harper's Mill. Michael Donovan's hand reaches out, silencing it before it can wake the entire household. He lies still for a moment, staring at the ceiling, gathering his strength for another day. Michael slides out of bed, his movements practiced and quiet. The floor creaks beneath his feet as he makes his way to the bathroom. In the mirror, a tired, 42-year-old man stares back at him, dark circles under his eyes, stubble on his chin, hair that's starting to show traces of gray. He splashes cold water on his face, the shock helping to clear the fog of too little sleep. The apartment is modest. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen-living room combination with furnishings that have seen better days. Michael moves through the small kitchen, starting the coffee maker before preparing 2 lunch bags. He spreads peanut butter on bread, adds the last apple cut in half, and divides the remaining granola bars between the 2 bags. He pauses at a photograph hanging on the refrigerator. A smiling woman with his same blue eyes, her arms around a younger Michael. Next to it, a calendar with shifts highlighted in different colors, bills, due dates circled in red, and school events marked with stars. Michael pushes open the first bedroom door, where his son Tyler sleeps soundly. At 10 years old, Tyler's face still holds the innocence of childhood, despite everything they've been through. Michael gently shakes his shoulder. "Hey, buddy, time to get up." Tyler stirs, rubbing his eyes. "Is it morning already?" "Afraid so. Your clothes are on the chair. Breakfast in 10 minutes. In the second bedroom, 14-year-old Emma is already awake, reading by the light of a small lamp. Her long brown hair falls across her face as she looks up from her book. "You're up early," Michael says. "History test today," Emma replies, not quite meeting his eyes. "You'll do great. Breakfast soon." In the kitchen, Michael scrambles eggs and toasts the last of the bread. He checks through Emma's homework while she gets ready, then helps Tyler find his missing shoe. The morning routine is choreographed efficiency, necessary when you're a single parent working multiple jobs. As they eat breakfast, Tyler chatters about a science project. "We're building bridges out of popsicle sticks, Dad. Mine's gonna hold the most weight in the whole class." Michael smiles, pouring the last of the coffee into his thermos. "That's great, bud. Maybe we can get supplies this weekend." Emma picks at her food, quieter than usual. "Everything okay, Em?" Michael asks. Mrs. Williams handed back the courier. "Planning sheets yesterday. She wants to talk to you about mine." Michael's brow furrows with concern. "Did she say why?" Emma shrugs. "Something about being unrealistic." Michael reaches across the table, putting his hand over hers. "Hey, nothing's unrealistic if you're willing to work for it. I'll talk to her this week." Tyler pipes up. "Emma wants to be an architect. She draws buildings all the time." Michael nods. "And she'll be a great one. Now finish up, we need to get moving." They leave the apartment together, Michael locking the door behind them. The stairwell is dimly lit with peeling paint and the faint, Smell of cooking from various apartments. Outside, Michael's old pickup truck sits waiting, its blue paint faded and rust forming around the wheel wells. The drive to school is filled with Tyler's constant questions and Emma's occasional corrections of her brother's facts. Michael drops them off with the same reminders he gives every day. Emma, straight to the library after school. Tyler, Mrs. Wilson will pick you up for your doctor's appointment. I'll be home by 7. Emma helps her brother out of the truck. We know, Dad. Same as always. And Em, Michael calls as they walk away. Whatever Mrs. Williams says, we'll figure it out together. Emma nods, offering a small wave before leading Tyler into the school building. Michael drives to Hilltop Construction, where he's worked for the past 8 years. The site is already buzzing with activity when he arrives. Frank Martinez, the owner, waves him over to a cluster of men reviewing blueprints spread across the hood of a truck. Morning, Donovan, Frank says. We're moving to the north section. Today, foundation needs to be poured by Thursday. Curtis Reynolds, a fellow worker, nudges Michael. Looks like Victor Ramirez was here again yesterday. Think Frank's gonna sell? Michael shakes his head. Hope not. Ramirez Construction doesn't exactly have a reputation for keeping on existing staff. The day passes in a blur of physical labor. Michael works steadily, mixing cement, hauling supplies, checking measurements. During lunch, he sits with Curtis, both men leaning against a stack of lumber, eating sandwiches. How's Tyler's asthma? Curtis asks. Better, but the doctor wants another follow-up. More co-pays we can't afford, Michael sighs. How's Diane? Her hip giving her trouble, Curtis chuckles. Tough old bird won't admit it, but I see her wincing. She's still watching Tyler sometimes? Yeah, don't know what I'd do without her. Speaking of which, I need to ask Frank about Saturday overtime. Frank is in the site office reviewing invoices. He looks up when Michael knocks on the door frame. Frank, got a minute? Sure, Mike, what's up? Wondered if you needed anyone Saturday. I could use the hours. Frank's expression turns apologetic. I would if I could, but with the Ramirez situation, I'm trying to keep costs down until I decide what to do. You know I'd give you the work if I had it. Michael nods, disappointment evident despite his attempt to hide it. I understand. Let me know if anything changes. Everything okay with the kids? Frank asks. Tyler's got another doctor appointment today. Nothing serious, just follow up, but the bills keep coming, Frank finishes. Listen, I might have something next week. Not promising, but I'll keep you in mind. First call. Appreciate it. The afternoon drags on, Michael's mind preoccupied with calculations. Rent due in 10 days, electric bill, groceries running low, Tyler's prescription. By the end of his shift, his body aches from the physical labor, but there's no time to rest. Michael drives directly to Sunrise Diner, where Marcus Green has given him occasional evening work washing dishes. The kitchen is hot and noisy. Plates clattering, orders being called out. Marcus nods in greeting as Michael ties an apron around his waist. Just Thursday and Friday this week, Mike, Marcus says. Saturday's slow, not worth opening. Michael's heart sinks, but he nods. Thanks for what you can give me. 3 hours later, Michael emerges from the diner's back door. A small envelope of cash in his pocket and a container of leftover meatloaf courtesy of Linda, Marcus's wife. The night air feels good after the steam and heat of the kitchen. He drives to Diane Wilson's house first, a small but well-kept place a few blocks from his apartment. Diane, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and kind eyes, answers the door with Tyler at her side. There's Daddy! Tyler exclaims, running to hug. Michael, how was the appointment? Michael asks, looking over his son's head at Diane. Dr. Robinson says his breathing's improved, Diane replies. He gave me the prescription to give you. She hands him a slip of paper. And before you ask, I already picked it up. You can pay me when you can. Michael's face shows a mixture of gratitude and discomfort. Diane, you shouldn't have. Hush now. What are neighbors for? Besides, this little man helped me organize my recipe box, didn't you, Tyler? Tyler beams with pride. I put them in alphabetical order. Well, thank you both, Michael says. We should get home. Emma will be waiting. Back at the apartment, Emma sits at the small kitchen table, textbooks spread around her. She looks up when they enter, relief briefly crossing her face before she returns to her studied teenage indifference. Mrs. Williams wants to see you tomorrow morning, she says. Without preamble, I told her you work, but she insisted. Michael hangs his keys on the hook by the door. I'll figure it out. How was your test? Emma shrugs. Fine, I guess. She's drawing buildings again, Tyler announces, pulling a sketchbook from Emma's backpack, despite her protests. See, Dad? Michael takes the sketchbook, flipping through pages of detailed building designs, some fanciful, others practical, all showing remarkable talent for a 14-year-old. These are incredible, Em, he says softly. They're just doodles, she mumbles, but a small smile tugs at the corner of her mouth. They eat the diner leftovers together, Tyler dominating the conversation with stories about school and Diane's cat. After dinner, Michael helps with homework, then oversees showers and bedtime routines. Tyler falls asleep quickly, but Emma lingers in the living room, watching Michael count the money from his envelope. Is it enough? She asks quietly. Michael looks up startled. Enough for what? For everything. Rent, bills, food, Tyler's medicine. Michael sets the money aside, moving to sit next to his daughter on the worn couch. Hey, that's not for you to worry about. But I do worry, Emma admits. I heard you on the phone with the bank last week. Michael sighs, running a hand through his hair. Look at me, Em. He waits until she meets his eyes. We're going to be okay, I promise. I've always figured it out, haven't I? Since Mom died, you mean? Yes, since Mom died. 4 years now, and we're still standing. Still together. Emma leans her head against his shoulder. I miss her. Me too, kiddo, every day. He kisses the top of her head. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow's another day. After Emma goes to bed, Michael returns to the kitchen table, spreading out bills in his checkbook. The numbers don't add up no matter how many times he reworks them. He's $20 short for groceries if he pays the minimum on all the bills. Michael rubs his eyes, exhaustion weighing on him. On the refrigerator, Mary's photograph seems to watch him, her smile unchanged by time or circumstance. Next to it, his children's school photos, Tyler's wide grin showing a missing tooth, Emma's more reserved smile, so like her mother's. I'm trying, Mary, he whispers to the empty kitchen. God knows I'm trying. He finally turns off the light and collapses into bed, setting his alarm for 4:45 a.m. In just a few hours, he'll wake up and do it all again. Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now, back to the story. Morning arrives too quickly. Michael drops the kids at school after promising Emma he'll speak with Mrs. Williams. He arrives at Hilltop Construction earlier than usual, hoping to catch Frank before the day begins. Frank, I need to step out for 30 minutes this morning. Emma's teacher wants to talk to me. Frank looks up from his paperwork. Everything okay? Not sure. Something about her career planning assignment. Go, just be back for the cement delivery. At 9, Harper's Mill High School is quiet when Michael arrives. Most students already in class. He feels out of place in his work clothes as he makes his way to the guidance office. The secretary points him toward Janet Williams' room. Mrs. Williams is a tall woman with salt and pepper hair and reading glasses perched on her nose. She stands when Michael enters. Mr. Donovan, thank you for coming. I know it can't be easy to get away from work. Michael shakes her hand. What's this about Emma's career plans? Mrs. Williams gestures to a chair. Emma wrote that she plans to become an architect. She's extraordinarily talented. Her spatial reasoning and artistic ability are exceptional. So what's the problem? The problem, Mr. Donovan, is that architecture requires a minimum of 5 years of college, often more, plus internships and licensing exams. It's an expensive, lengthy path. Michael feels a familiar tension building. Are you suggesting my daughter shouldn't aim high? Not at all. I'm suggesting we need to be realistic about the financial challenges. Emma hasn't applied for any scholarships, and when I mentioned them, she said there was no point. Michael frowns. That doesn't sound like Emma. She told me, college isn't for people like us. I was hoping you could shed some light on where she got that idea. The words hit Michael like a physical blow. He stares at his calloused hands for a moment before answering. After my wife died, there were conversations about money, about what we could and couldn't afford. Emma must have internalized more than I realized. Mrs. Williams' expression softens. Emma has real potential, Mr. Donovan. She could qualify for substantial scholarships, but she needs to believe it's possible. What do you suggest? For starters, there's a summer architecture program at the community college. It's for high school students showing promise in the field. The application deadline is next week. What's the cost? That's the thing. It's a scholarship program. If Emma's accepted, it's free. For the first time that morning, Michael feels a glimmer of hope. I'll talk to her tonight. Back at the construction site, Michael works methodically, his mind still processing the conversation with Mrs. Williams. During lunch break, Frank approaches him. Got a minute, Mike? They walk to a quieter area of the site. Frank looks uncomfortable. Victor Ramirez made another offer this morning, substantially higher than the last one. Michael's stomach tightens. You thinking of accepting? Carol thinks. I should. The business isn't doing great, and with Rosa's college tuition... Frank sighs. But I wanted to talk to you first. You've been with me longest. What happens to the crew if you sell? Ramirez says he'll keep essential personnel, whatever that means. And the rest? Frank doesn't answer, which is answer enough. The afternoon passes slowly. Michael's muscles ache as he loads heavy materials and secures scaffolding. At 5:00, he heads straight to Palmer's grocery with his meager funds, carefully selecting the cheapest options: store-brand cereal, pasta, canned vegetables. He calculates each item's cost as he places it in the cart. As Michael exits the store with 2 plastic bags, he notices a woman sitting on a bench near the parking lot. Her clothes are worn but clean, her face weathered by hardship. A small backpack rests beside her. She's not asking for money, just staring at the grocery store entrance with hollow eyes. Michael hesitates, then walks to his truck and places his groceries inside. He checks his wallet. The $20 he's short for next week's groceries sits there, his emergency fund. He thinks of Emma's words, "College isn't for people like us." He thinks of his own parents, who could never afford to send him to college. With sudden determination, Michael walks back to the woman on the bench. "Excuse me, ma'am?" The woman looks up, startled. Up close, Michael can see she's probably in her late 30s, though stress has aged her prematurely. Her eyes are a clear blue, intelligent eyes that have seen too much pain. "I'm not bothering anyone," she says defensively. "Just resting." "I know, Michael pulls out the $20 bill. "I thought you might need this more than me today." The woman stares at the money, then at Michael's face, suspicion evident. "Why?" "No reason, no strings, just..." Michael struggles to find the right words. Sometimes we all need a little help. Slowly, she reaches for the bill. "I'm Sarah," she says quietly. "Michael." "Good luck to you, Sarah." He turns and walks back to his truck before she can respond, not wanting to embarrass her further. In his rear-view mirror, he sees her looking at the money in her hand, shoulders shaking slightly. That evening, Michael sits with Emma at the kitchen table after Tyler is in bed. Her sketchbook lies between them, open to a drawing of a modern library building. "Mrs. Williams showed me your career planning sheet today," Michael begins. Emma's face closes off. "It was just an assignment." Why didn't you tell me you were interested in architecture scholarships? Because they're not going to pick someone from Westside, someone whose dad works construction and washes dishes at a diner. Michael's heart breaks at the matter-of-fact way she says this. Emma, look at me. Your mother and I always taught you that your circumstances don't define your possibilities. That was before Mom got sick, before the hospital bills and the debt, before you started working 2 jobs just to keep us afloat. Emma's voice cracks slightly. I've seen the bills, Dad. I know what college costs. There are scholarships, Em. Mrs. Williams told me about a summer program at the community college. It's specifically for students interested in architecture, and it's free if you're accepted. A flicker of interest crosses Emma's face before she suppresses it. What's the point? Even if I got in, what then? We can't afford architecture school. 1 step at a time, Michael says, placing his hand over hers. This program could lead to more opportunities, more scholarships. You have to at least try. What if I'm not good enough? Michael turns to the sketchbook, flipping through pages of Emma's detailed drawings. These are incredible, Emma. You have a gift, but nobody will see it if you don't share it. Emma is quiet for a long moment. The application probably needs supplies, special paper, portfolio materials. We'll figure it out. When is it due? Next Friday. Michael nods. Then we have work to do. The next morning, Michael drops the kids at school and heads to Hilltop Construction. Before he can clock in, Frank waves him over to the office. Mike, we need to talk. Michael follows Frank inside, where Curtis is already waiting, looking grim. I've decided to sell to Ramirez, Frank says without preamble. The paperwork will be finalized next month. Curtis swears under his breath. Michael feels the floor tilt beneath him. What does this mean for us? He asks, though he already knows. Frank can't quite meet their eyes. Ramirez is bringing his own foreman and senior crew. He's agreed to interview current employees for the remaining positions, but most of us are gone, Curtis finishes. I'm sorry. I fought for better terms, but with the market the way it is. Look, I'll give you both excellent references, and there's a month before the transition. Michael walks out of the office in a daze. A month, 4 weeks to find another job in a town where construction work is already scarce. The weight of his new reality settles on his shoulders like concrete. That afternoon, the skies open up and rain pours down on the construction site. The crew works through it, soaked to the skin. Michael's boots squelch with every step, his hands red and raw from the cold water. By the end of the day, his throat feels scratchy, his head pounding. Still, he drives to Sunrise Diner, his body on autopilot. Marcus takes one look at him and frowns. Jesus, Mike, you look like death warmed over. I'm fine, Michael croaks, though he's anything but. The kitchen's heat makes his head swim. Like hell you are. Linda, get him some soup. Linda appears with a steaming bowl. Sit, eat, then go home. I need the hours, Michael protests weakly. Marcus shakes his head. What I need is for you not to collapse in my kitchen. Go home, get some rest. Come back tomorrow if you're feeling better. Michael knows arguing is pointless. He eats the soup gratefully, the warm broth soothing his throat. Linda packs a container of chicken noodle soup for the kids before sending him on his way. The apartment is quiet when he arrives home. Diane sits in the living room, knitting, while Tyler and Emma do homework at the table. You're early, Diane observes, then frowns as she takes in his appearance. And sick by the looks of it. Just a cold, Michael dismisses, though his voice betrays him. Thanks for watching them. Daddy, are you okay? Tyler asks, concern written across his young face. Just tired, buddy. Michael forces a smile. How was school? While Tyler launches into a story about recess, Emma watches her father with worried eyes. When Diane leaves, Emma heats up the soup Linda sent and makes Michael sit down. You should go to bed, she tells him. I can handle Tyler's bedtime routine. I'm fine, Em. You're not, and you can't afford to get really sick. The truth of her words silences him. After eating, Michael takes some over-the-counter cold medicine and collapses into bed, still in his damp clothes. His last thought before falling asleep is of the $20 he gave away, money that would have bought more cold medicine and groceries for next week. Morning comes with fever and chills. Michael forces himself out of bed, his head pounding. In the kitchen, Emma is already up making breakfast for Tyler. "Dad, you can't go to work like this," she insists. "No choice," he mumbles, reaching for the coffee pot with shaking hands. "I called Mr. Martinez," Emma says. "Told him you have the flu." Michael stares at his daughter in disbelief. "Emma, I can't miss work, especially not now. Mr. Martinez said to tell you he'd rather have you healthy next week than spreading germs on his site. He said to rest up." Emma hands him 2 pills and a glass of water. "These are the last of the cold medicine. I'll pick up more after school." "With what money?" Michael asks before he can stop himself. Emma pulls out a $20 bill from her pocket. "Mrs. Wilson gave me this, said it's for cleaning her gutters last weekend." Michael feels a surge of both pride and shame. Pride in his daughter's resourcefulness. Shame that she feels responsible for providing. Just take the medicine and go back to bed, Dad. We'll be fine. I've got this." For the first time, Michael sees not just Mary in his daughter's face, but something of himself too. The determination, the quiet strength. With a nod, he takes the pills and allows himself to be led back to bed. Hours later, Michael wakes to the sound of rain against the window. His fever has broken, leaving him weak but clearer-headed. The apartment is quiet. The kids still at school, Diane probably picking them up. He reaches for his phone to check the time and sees a text from Curtis. "Meeting at Frank's office tomorrow morning. All hands. Ramirez wants to talk to everyone. At once." Michael sets the phone down, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow could determine whether he still has a job next month. With Hilltop Construction gone, and no guarantee Ramirez will keep him on, his options in Harper's Mill are suddenly, frighteningly limited. The apartment door opens, and Tyler's voice fills the space. "Dad, are you awake? Mrs. Wilson bought us chicken soup and medicine." Michael sits up slowly as Diane appears in the doorway, grocery bags in hand, Tyler bouncing beside her. "Feeling any better?" she asks. "Some. Thank you for picking him up, and for..." He gestures to the bags. "Don't mention it. Emma's right behind us. She stayed after school to talk to some teacher about a program." A small spark of hope flickers in Michael's chest. Maybe Emma is considering the architecture program after all. Diane bustles around the kitchen, unpacking soup and more cold medicine. Michael watches her, overwhelmed by her kindness, by the community that has formed around his little family in the years since Mary's death. He thinks again of the $20 he gave to Sarah, the homeless woman outside Palmer's grocery. Even in his dire straits, he can't bring himself to regret the gesture. "You know, Michael," Diane says as if reading his thoughts, "sometimes the universe has a way of balancing things out. You're one of the good ones. That counts for something in the end." Michael wishes he could believe her. Morning brings a pale. Son and Michael's return to work, his body still fighting the remnants of illness. He arrives at Hilltop Construction to find the mood somber, workers gathered in small groups, voices low. Curtis nods to him as he approaches. "You look like hell," Curtis remarks. "Feel slightly better than that," Michael responds, his voice still raspy. "Any idea what Ramirez is going to say?" Curtis shakes his head. "Nothing good. Word is, he's already got half his crew lined up." Inside the main office, Victor Ramirez stands next to Frank. Ramirez is younger than Frank by at least 15 years, his suit expensive, his demeanor confident to the point of arrogance. The construction workers file in, filling the small space, with the scent of coffee and anxiety. "Thank you all for coming," Frank begins, discomfort evident in his posture. As you know, Hilltop Construction will be transitioning to Ramirez Construction next month. I wanted Mr. Ramirez to have a chance to speak with you directly. Ramirez steps forward, surveying the room with calculating eyes. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I'll be brief. Ramirez Construction has built a reputation for efficiency and excellence in this region. We operate differently than what you may be accustomed to. He pauses, making eye contact with several workers. I'll be bringing in my core team, but I'm looking to retain 4 to 6 of you. I'll be conducting individual interviews next week. Those selected will receive a formal offer. Those not selected, he shrugs. Well, Frank has assured me he'll provide excellent references. A murmur runs through the group. 4 to 6 out of 16. The odds aren't good. One more thing, Ramirez adds. My company works exclusively with the Phillips Development Group on their new Cedar Creek subdivision. It's high-end work that requires precision and attention to detail. Keep that in mind if you're interviewed. After Ramirez leaves, the crew disperses, tension thick in the air. Michael and Curtis walk to their workstation together. Cedar Creek, Curtis snorts. Those houses start at $500,000. Of course he wants guys who've worked on fancy houses. Michael nods grimly. Most of Hilltop's projects have been practical. Small business renovations, middle-class home additions, municipal repairs. Nothing that would impress Ramirez. The workday passes in determined silence, each man trying to showcase his skills, aware they're competing against friends for limited positions. By afternoon, Michael's body protests the exertion, his recent illness sapping his strength. Frank notices him leaning against a wall, catching his breath. You should have taken another day, Frank says. Couldn't afford to. Frank's expression is pained. Mike, I'm sorry about all this. If there was another way, it's business, I understand. For what it's worth, I told Ramirez you're the best foreman I've ever had. Dependable, skilled, keeps the crew running smoothly. Michael nods his thanks, though they both know recommendations might not be enough. That evening, Michael picks up Emma from the library and Tyler from Diane's house. The kids are subdued, sensing their father's worries despite his efforts to hide them. How was school? Michael asks as they drive home. I got an A on my science project, Tyler offers. Mrs. Mitchell said my bridge held more weight than anyone else's. That's great, buddy. Michael glances at Emma in the rearview mirror. What about you, Em? Emma hesitates. I turned in the application for that summer program. Mrs. Williams helped me put together a portfolio with my sketches. Surprise and pride wash over Michael. That's wonderful. When will you hear back? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Emma stares out the window. Don't get your hopes up, though. Lots of kids apply. I'm already proud of you for trying, Michael says. Sincerely. At home, Michael checks the mail, bills, advertisements, and a letter from the apartment management company. He opens it with a sense of dread that proves justified. What is it? Emma asks, watching his face. Michael debates whether to shield her from this latest blow, then decides honesty is better than allowing her imagination to run wild. Rent increase. Starting next month, they're raising it by $150. Can we afford that? We'll figure it out, Michael says, the phrase becoming a mantra of uncertain hope. He calls Marcus at Sunrise Diner, asking for extra shifts, but business is slow. Marcus can only offer 2 nights next week. Michael thanks him, hiding his disappointment. After dinner, when the kids are occupied with homework, he calls other construction companies in Harper's Mill and the surrounding towns. The responses are uniform, no openings, but they'll keep his name on file. As Michael hangs up from the 5th rejection, the weight of his situation presses down on him. Even if Ramirez keeps him on, a big if, the rent increase will stretch his budget beyond breaking point. His savings are non-existent after Mary's medical bills, and his credit is already strained. The next morning, Michael drops Tyler at school, then drives Emma to her high school. Before she gets out of the truck, he turns to her. I want you to know something. Whatever happens with my job or the apartment, we're going to be okay. I promise you that. Emma studies her father's face. How can you be sure? Because we have each other, and we're stronger than any problem that comes our way. He squeezes her hand. Just focus on your schoolwork and that architecture program. Let me worry about the rest. Emma nods, but her eyes betray her doubt. She kisses his cheek before joining the stream of students entering the school building. At the construction site, Michael works with methodical precision, his body still not fully recovered but his determination unwavering. During lunch break, Frank approaches him. "Got a minute, Mike?" They walk to a quiet corner of the site. Frank hands him a piece of paper with a name and phone number. James Wilson over in Millfield. He's looking for experienced construction workers for a hospital renovation project. It's a 6-month contract, decent pay. I called in a favor and got you an interview next Tuesday. Michael stares at the paper, a mix of gratitude and anxiety washing over him. Millfield is 45 minutes away, a significant commute that would mean even earlier mornings and additional gas expense. I appreciate this, Frank. Really, you're the best worker I've got, Mike. Always have been. You deserve better than... What's happening here? That afternoon, Michael receives a call from Harper's Mill Elementary School. Tyler's teacher, Grace Mitchell, explains that Tyler had an asthma attack during recess. He's stable now, but they've called an ambulance as a precaution. Michael rushes to the hospital, his heart hammering. He finds Tyler in the emergency room, looking small and pale against the white sheets, an oxygen mask covering his face. Dr. Robinson stands nearby, reviewing a chart. "What happened?" Michael asks, moving to his son's side. His classmates were playing tag, and Tyler joined in, Dr. Robinson explains. The exertion triggered an attack. It's more severe than his previous episodes. But he'll be okay? Yes, but I want to keep him overnight for observation, and we need to adjust his medication regimen. Michael nods, relief mingling with renewed worry about the additional medical costs. He calls Diane, asking if she can pick up Emma from school and explain the situation. Through the evening, Michael sits beside Tyler's hospital bed, helping him with dinner, reading to him, and reassuring him when fear flickers in his young eyes. When Tyler finally drifts off to sleep, Michael steps into the hallway to call Emma. "How's he doing?" she asks immediately. "Better. Doctor wants to keep him overnight, but he should be home tomorrow." "Dad." Emma's voice wavers. "I was thinking, maybe I should look for a part-time job to help with the bills." Michael closes his eyes, pain lancing through him at the thought of his 14-year-old daughter sacrificing her education and childhood to help support the family. "Absolutely not, Em. Your job is school. I've got this covered." But the rent increase and now Tyler's hospital stay. "Emma, listen to me. We're going to be okay. Focus on that architecture program. That's how you can help most right now, by building your future." After hanging up, Michael sinks into a chair in the hospital corridor, the fluorescent lights harsh against his tired eyes. A nurse offers him a blanket and pillow, which he accepts gratefully. Morning arrives with Dr. Robinson's rounds. The doctor examines Tyler, then motions for Michael to join him in the hallway. "His oxygen levels are good. I'm comfortable discharging him today, but I'd like him to take it easy for the rest of the week." Dr. Robinson hands Michael a prescription. "This is a stronger inhaler. He'll need to use it twice daily, plus as needed for symptoms." Michael takes the prescription, mentally calculating the cost. "Anything else we should be doing?" "Yes, I'm concerned about your apartment. You mentioned water damage and mold issues last time. Those can be significant triggers for asthma. We're working on getting those fixed." The lie tastes bitter, but Michael can't admit that his landlord, Harold Jenkins, has been ignoring his maintenance requests for months. Dr. Robinson gives him a knowing look. "I can write a letter stating that the conditions are affecting Tyler's health. Legally, landlords Have to address issues that impact tenant health. That would help, thank you. After completing the discharge paperwork, Michael takes Tyler home, settling him on the couch with books and his favorite blanket. Then he drives to the pharmacy, where the price of the new inhaler makes his stomach clench. The pharmacist, noting his expression, mentions a prescription assistance program that might reduce the cost. Michael fills out the application on the spot, grateful when the program approval comes through immediately, reducing the price by half. It's still expensive but manageable. For now. Back home, he calls the apartment management company, explaining the situation with Tyler's asthma and mentioning Dr. Robinson's letter. The property manager is less than sympathetic. Mr. Jenkins has a full maintenance schedule. We'll get to your unit when we can. My son was just hospitalized. The doctor specifically cited the mold as a trigger. File a formal complaint with documentation and we'll review it. That's the process. Michael hangs up, frustration burning in his throat. He considers his options. Finding a new apartment would require first and last month's rent, plus a security deposit. Money he simply doesn't have. Fighting the landlord might work eventually, but could make their living situation uncomfortable in the meantime. A knock at the door interrupts his thoughts. He opens it to find Diane holding a casserole. "Dish, thought you could use a home-cooked meal," she says, stepping inside. "How's our boy doing?" "Better. Thanks for checking in." "And for the food." Diane sets the dish on the counter, then turns to Michael, her expression serious. "I heard about Frank selling the business. What will you do?" "I have an interview in Millfield next week, and I'm still hoping Ramirez might keep me on." Diane nods thoughtfully. "You know, my son Scott's roofing company might be hiring. It's seasonal work, but it's something. I appreciate that. At this point, I'm exploring all options. And what about the apartment situation? Harold Jenkins isn't known for his tenant relations." Michael sighs. "One battle at a time. Right now, I'm focused on keeping Tyler healthy and finding stable work." After Diane leaves, Michael sits with Tyler, helping him with the missed schoolwork Diane brought over. They're working through a math problem when Emma arrives home, her expression uncharacteristically animated. "Dad, Tyler, you won't believe what happened today." Tyler perks up. "What? Did something explode in science class?" "No, better." Emma pulls out a flyer from her backpack. "There's an architecture competition for high school students. First prize is $500 and a scholarship to the summer program, even if you don't get accepted through the regular application." Michael examines the flyer. "This looks amazing, Em. Are you going to enter?" "I already started sketching. Ideas. The theme is community spaces that unite. We have to design a public building that brings different groups together." For the first time in days, genuine excitement lights up Emma's face. Michael feels a corresponding lightness in his chest. Despite everything, his uncertain job situation, Tyler's health issues, the rent increase, his daughter still has hope, still sees possibilities. "You're going to create something incredible," he tells her, meaning every word. That night, after the kids are asleep, Michael sits at the kitchen table with his bills, calculator, and a notepad. He works through various scenarios: if he gets the Millfield job, if Ramirez keeps him on, if neither comes through. Even the best-case scenario leaves little margin for error, especially with Tyler's ongoing medical needs. Michael rubs his eyes, exhaustion settling into his bones. He thinks about the $20 he gave to Sarah, wondering briefly where she is, if that small amount made any difference in her life. Despite their dire circumstances, he can't bring himself to regret the gesture. If nothing else, it was a reminder that he still has something to give, even when it seems like he has nothing left. With a weary sigh, Michael turns off the kitchen light and heads to bed. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, but it will also bring another chance to find solutions. For now, that has to be enough. The weekend arrives with a rare gift: sunshine after days of rain. Michael uses the opportunity to tackle the mold issue. In Tyler's bedroom himself, armed with bleach, vinegar and determination, he scrubs the walls near the window where water has been seeping in during storms. Emma helps by taking Tyler to the park, keeping him away from the cleaning chemicals that might trigger another asthma attack. Michael works methodically, removing Tyler's belongings from the affected area, treating the visible mold, then applying a sealant he purchased with his dwindling funds. By afternoon, the bedroom is cleaner, but the underlying problem remains. Without proper repairs to the building's exterior, the mold will return with the next heavy rainfall. Michael documents the condition with his phone camera, collecting evidence for the formal complaint Dr. Robinson suggested. The doorbell rings as Michael finishes cleaning up. He opens it to find Harold Jenkins standing in the hallway, arms crossed. "Donovan," Jenkins says by way of greeting, "got a call from management about a complaint you're filing." Michael straightens, surprised by the landlord's quick appearance. "My son was hospitalized for asthma. His doctor says the mold in our apartment is contributing to his condition." Jenkins peers past Michael into the apartment. "Been doing some work in there? Tenants aren't authorized to make repairs." "I'm not making repairs. I'm cleaning mold that's making my son sick. The actual repairs, fixing the leaks causing the mold, are your responsibility." Jenkins narrows his eyes. "You know, Donovan, there's a waiting list for these apartments. Rent's going up all over Harper's Mill. I've got people who'd take this unit without complaining." The implied threat hangs in the air between them. Michael measures his words carefully. "I'm not looking for trouble, Mr. Jenkins. I'm looking for a safe place for my kids to live. We've been good tenants for 4 years, always paid on time until Mary got sick." "You're 2 weeks late on March's rent," Jenkins counters, "and I paid the late fee without complaint. I'll have next month's rent on time, including the increase." Michael pauses. "All I'm asking is for the leaks to be fixed so my son can breathe." Something in Michael's tone, the quiet dignity perhaps, or the simple reasonableness of the request, seems to reach Jenkins. The landlord's posture relaxes slightly. "I'll send someone next week to look at it. No promises on when it'll get fixed." "Thank you, I appreciate that." After Jenkins leaves, Michael slumps against the door, the brief confrontation having drained his limited energy. He checks his phone and sees a text from Emma. "Tyler doing great at park, home in 30. He uses the time to shower, washing away the bleach smell and giving himself a moment to regroup. The bathroom mirror reflects a face more lined and tired than it should be at 42, eyes shadowed by worry and too many pre-dawn wake-ups. When the kids return, Tyler is flushed with healthy exertion, his breathing clear and even in the fresh air. Emma gives Michael a questioning look. "Bedroom's all clean," he tells her, "and Jenkins is sending someone to look at the leaks next week." Emma's eyebrows rise in surprise. "How did you manage that?" asked nicely. Michael says with a small smile. No need to worry her with the implied eviction threat. That evening, while Tyler watches a nature documentary, Emma works on her architecture competition entry at the kitchen table. Michael joins her, curious about her progress. Emma's sketches show a circular building with different sections radiating out from a central hub. "It's a community center," she explains, "but with specialized spaces for different groups that all connect to the main area. See, this section is for seniors. Accessible design, quieter activities. This one's for teens with music and art studios. This is for families with young children." "It's brilliant," Michael says, genuinely impressed. "The circular design, literally, brings everyone together. That's the idea. Different groups can have their own spaces, but still interact in the central hub. I'm calling it the gathering place." Michael watches his daughter work, her face intent with concentration, and feels a surge of pride so intense it momentarily displaces his worries. Whatever happens in the coming weeks, Emma has this, her talent, her vision, her future stretching before her with possibilities he never had. Sunday passes quietly with household chores and preparation for the week ahead. Michael reviews his notes for the Millfield interview, mentally rehearsing answers to likely questions. He launders and irons his one good shirt, a remnant from happier times when he and Mary would occasionally treat themselves to dinner out. Monday morning returns them to routine, school drop-offs, then work at Hilltop Construction. The atmosphere at the site is subdued as everyone awaits news of their individual interviews with Ramirez. The schedule is posted on the office door. Michael's interview is set for Wednesday at 2 p.m. Curtis finds him during lunch break. Got any leads on other jobs? Interview in Millfield tomorrow, Michael replies. Hospital renovation project. Good luck with that. I've been calling places as far as Silver Springs. Nothing yet. Michael nods sympathetically. Curtis has a new baby at home, his third child. His wife works part-time as a cashier at Palmer's Grocery. Their situation is as precarious as Michael's own. What about you and Ramirez? Michael asks. Think he'll keep you on? Curtis shrugs. Who knows? I've been doing concrete work for 15 years, but I don't have experience with those fancy houses he's building. He takes a bite of his sandwich. Might have to consider moving if nothing. Turns up soon. The possibility has crossed Michael's mind too. Harper's Mill is the only home his children have known, but jobs are scarce and rent is climbing. Yet moving would mean new schools for the kids, leaving the small support network they've built and the cost of relocation itself. That afternoon, Michael cleans out his locker at Hilltop Construction, bringing home personal items as a precaution. Among them is a photograph of the crew from last summer's company picnic, everyone smiling in the sunshine, unaware of the changes to come. Tuesday dawns gray and cool. Michael drops the kids at school, then drives to Millfield for his interview. The hospital renovation site is impressive, a large-scale project that would provide steady work for months. James Wilson, the project manager, greets him warmly, thanks to Frank's recommendation. The interview goes well. Michael's experience is relevant, his references impeccable. Wilson seems particularly impressed by the municipal projects Michael has supervised. We need detail-oriented people, Wilson says. Hospital work has to meet strict codes and specifications. I understand. Safety and precision are always my priorities. Wilson nods approvingly. I have a few more interviews this week, but I'll be making decisions by Friday. Where can I reach you? Michael provides his contact information, feeling cautiously optimistic as he leaves. The job would mean longer days and higher transportation costs, but the pay is better than Hilltop, and Wilson mentioned the possibility of carpooling with the workers from Harper's Mill. On the drive back, Michael allows himself a moment of hope. Between the Millfield possibility and his upcoming interview with Ramirez, surely something will work out. He stops at the pharmacy to pick up Tyler's prescription, wincing at the cost, even with the assistance program. When he arrives to pick up the kids from school, Emma is waiting with a large portfolio under her arm. "What's that?" Michael asks as she climbs into the truck. "Mrs. Williams is helping me prepare my entry for the architecture competition. These are examples of previous winners' work." "That's great, Em. Want me to look through it with you tonight?" Emma nods, a mixture of excitement and nervousness on her face. "The deadline is next Friday. I'm working on the final drawings this weekend." At Tyler's school, Michael finds his son sitting with the school nurse. Tyler's face is pale, his breathing slightly labored. "It's not an attack," the nurse assures Michael. "Just some wheezing after PE class. I had him use his inhaler and he's doing better." Michael kneels before his son. "How are you feeling, buddy?" "I'm okay. Just got a little tired playing basketball." Michael exchanges a look with the nurse over Tyler's head. They both know this is another warning sign that Tyler's asthma isn't fully controlled. At home, Tyler uses his nebulizer, the machine's quiet hum filling the apartment as he breathes in the medicated mist. Michael calls Dr. Robinson's office, explaining the school incident. The receptionist schedules a follow-up appointment for Thursday afternoon. After dinner, Michael sits with Emma at the kitchen table, reviewing the portfolio from Mrs. Williams. The previous winner's entries are sophisticated and professional, but none have the heart and thoughtfulness of Emma's design. "Your concept is special, Em," Michael tells her. "It addresses exactly what they're looking for, a space that unites the community." Emma chews her lip uncertainly. "But look at these drawings. They're so perfect, so technical." "That's just presentation. The idea behind yours is stronger." Michael points to particular elements in her sketches. "And your drawings show real talent. They just need to be cleaned up a bit." That's what Mrs. Williams said. "She's letting me use the drafting equipment in the art room after school tomorrow." "See, she wouldn't offer that if she didn't think you had a real shot." Emma's expression softens into a small smile. "Thanks, Dad." Wednesday brings Michael's interview with Victor Ramirez. He dresses in his good shirt and arrives early, watching as his colleagues emerge from the office, some looking defeated, others cautiously optimistic. Curtis exits just before Michael's scheduled time. "Good luck in there," he mutters. Guy asks tough questions. Inside the office, Ramirez sits behind Frank's desk, a laptop open before him. He gestures for Michael to sit without looking up from the screen. "Michael Donovan," Ramirez says, finally meeting his eyes. "Frank speaks highly of your work." "I appreciate that. I've been with Hilltop for 8 years. Yes, I see that in your file. Primarily residential and commercial renovation, some municipal projects." Ramirez taps the laptop. "Not much experience with high-end residential construction." Michael chooses his words carefully. The principles are the same, regardless of the price point. Quality work, attention to detail, meeting deadlines and budgets. True, but Cedar Creek has specific aesthetic requirements. Custom finishes, architectural details that require a certain finesse. "I'm a quick learner, Mr. Ramirez, and I've worked on historical renovations that required similar precision." The interview continues for 20 minutes, Ramirez probing Michael's experience, technical knowledge, and problem-solving abilities. Michael answers confidently, drawing on specific examples from past projects. "One last question," Ramirez says, leaning back in his chair. "Why should I keep you on when I'm bringing experienced people from my own company?" Michael meets his gaze, steadily. "Because I know this town, these workers, and these projects. I've supervised most of the crew here, and they respect my leadership. That institutional knowledge has value during a transition." Ramirez nods, his expression revealing nothing. "I'll be making decisions by Friday. Thank you for your time, Mr. Donovan." As Michael leaves the office, he feels reasonably satisfied with his performance, but has no idea where he stands. Ramirez is hard to read, his priorities unclear beyond his focus on the Cedar Creek project. Thursday afternoon brings Tyler's appointment with Dr. Robinson. The doctor listens to Tyler's lungs, reviews his medication use, and frowns slightly. His airways are still inflamed despite the new prescription. The school incident confirms he's not getting adequate control. Dr. Robinson makes notes in Tyler's chart. "I'd like to try a different combination of medications, and I want you to keep a detailed log of his symptoms, especially noting any triggers. Could the mold in our apartment still be affecting him, even after I cleaned it?" "Absolutely. Mold spores can persist in carpeting, bedding, even the air ducts. Has your landlord addressed the underlying moisture issues?" Michael shakes his head. "He's supposed to send someone to look at it, but no one's come yet." Dr. Robinson removes his glasses, his expression serious. "Michael, this is affecting Tyler's health in significant ways. If the landlord doesn't make repairs soon, you might need to consider a different living situation. The words land heavily on Michael's shoulders. I understand. I'll keep pushing for repairs. That evening, Michael calls the apartment management company again, emphasizing the medical necessity of fixing the leaks. The property manager is slightly more responsive this time, promising to send maintenance within the week. As Michael hangs up, Emma enters the kitchen, her architecture portfolio in hand. Dad, can you look at my final sketches? I need to submit them tomorrow. Michael pushes aside his worries to focus on his daughter's work. Emma has refined her design, incorporating technical elements while maintaining the warmth and community. Focus of her original concept. The drawings are precise and professional, showing remarkable skill for her age. These are outstanding, Em. Really, I'm so proud of you. Emma's face brightens at the praise. I worked on them during lunch and after school. Mrs. Williams thinks I have a real chance. She's right, this is exceptional work. Later, after both kids are asleep, Michael sits alone in the kitchen, the day's events weighing on him. Tyler's health issues are worsening, the apartment situation is unresolved, and his employment remains uncertain. By tomorrow, he'll know about at least one of the jobs, but there are no guarantees. He thinks about what Dr. Robinson said regarding a different living situation. Moving would require money they don't have. Security deposits, moving expenses, possibly higher rent. Yet staying might mean continued health problems for Tyler. Michael rubs his temples, feeling the beginning of a stress headache. The walls of their small apartment seem to close in around him, the problems multiplying faster than the solutions. His phone chimes with a text from Frank. Any word from Millfield? Michael replies, not yet. Should know tomorrow. You? Frank's response comes quickly. Closing on the sale next week. Ramirez is finalizing his crew list tomorrow. Tomorrow. One way or another, Michael will have answers. Whether they're the answers he needs is another question entirely. He moves to the window, looking out at the quiet street below. Somewhere out there, Sarah Collins is living her life, perhaps changed in some small way by their brief encounter. He wonders if she found shelter that night, if the $20 made any difference at all. With a deep breath, Michael turns from the window and prepares for bed. Tomorrow will bring what it brings. All he can do is face it with the same determination that has carried him this far. Friday dawns with a sense of anticipation. Michael wakes before his alarm, his mind already cycling through the possibilities that await. Today, he'll learn whether Ramirez Construction or the Millfield Hospital project will offer him employment. By nightfall, he'll know if his family's immediate future is secure or if more drastic measures will be necessary. He moves through the morning routine with practiced efficiency, making breakfast, checking Tyler's breathing, helping Emma gather her competition materials. The kids sense his preoccupation, but don't press for details, having grown accustomed to the weight of adult concerns that hangs over their household. Good luck today, Dad, Emma says as she exits the truck at her school, surprising Michael with her perceptiveness. Thanks, Em. Good luck with your submission, Tyler pipes up from the back seat. What's Dad need luck for? Just grown-up stuff, Emma answers, saving Michael from an explanation. See you after school. At Hilltop Construction, tension permeates the air. Workers cluster in small groups, speculation running rampant about who will make Ramirez's cut. Frank's office door remains closed, a sign taped to it announcing decision notifications will be distributed at the end of the day. Curtis sidles up to Michael as they collect their tools. This waiting is worse than the actual news will be. Any word on your applications elsewhere? Michael asks. Nothing solid. You? Should hear about Millfield today, too. Curtis nods grimly. Double the suspense. Lucky you. The workday progresses with unusual quiet, each man focused on his tasks, perhaps, trying to demonstrate his value until the very end. Michael supervises a concrete pour, double-checking measurements and ensuring proper technique with more attention than usual. If this is his last day at Hilltop, he wants to leave knowing he gave his absolute best. During lunch, Michael checks his phone repeatedly, hoping for word from James Wilson in Millfield. The screen remains stubbornly devoid of notifications. He forces himself to eat despite his churning stomach, knowing he needs strength for whatever the afternoon brings. 2 o'clock, Michael's phone vibrates. The caller ID shows James Wilson's number. Michael steps away from the site, his heart pounding as he answers. Michael Donovan speaking. Michael, James Wilson here. I wanted to personally let you know about the hospital renovation position. Michael braces himself, Wilson's formal tone giving nothing away. I was very impressed with your experience and Frank's recommendation. Wilson continues. However, we've decided to go with a candidate who has more specific experience with medical facility construction. Disappointment settles in Michael's chest. I understand. Thank you for considering me. You were our second choice, Michael. If anything changes, we'll be in touch. Small comfort, Michael thinks as he ends the call. Second place doesn't pay the bills or keep a roof over his children's heads. Back at the construction site, Michael throws himself into work with redoubled focus, channeling his disappointment into physical labor. The Millfield job is gone. Now everything hinges on Ramirez's decision. At 4:30, work winds down. The crew cleans up methodically, an underlying current of anxiety growing as the moment of truth approaches. Frank emerges from his office at 4:45, a stack of envelopes in his hand. His expression is unreadable as he calls each man forward individually. Michael waits, watching his colleagues' reactions as they open their envelopes. Some faces fall in disappointment, others show cautious relief. Curtis receives his envelope and steps aside to open it. His shoulders slump slightly before he composes himself, tucking the letter into his pocket without comment. Donovan, Frank, calls. Michael steps forward, accepting the sealed envelope with steady hands. He moves to a quiet corner before opening it, conscious of eyes watching his reaction. The letter is brief and to the point. After careful consideration of your qualifications and experience, Ramirez Construction is pleased to offer you continued employment as a crew supervisor. Relief washes over Michael so intensely that he has to lean against a stack of lumber for support. The position comes with a slight pay increase, acknowledging his supervisory role. It's not a fortune, but it's steady work, the security his family desperately needs. Curtis approaches, his expression resigned. Congratulations, I saw your face. Thanks. You? Curtis shakes his head. They're going in a different direction. Whatever that means. I'm sorry, Curtis. That's rough. Yeah, well, something will turn up. Curtis attempts a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Better start looking at commuting options to Silver Springs. As the workers disperse, Frank motions Michael over. Got a minute, Mike? They walk to Frank's truck away from the others. I'm glad Ramirez kept you on, Frank says. I pushed hard for it. I appreciate that, Frank. Truly. There's something else. Frank glances around before continuing. Ramirez is planning to move operations closer to the Cedar Creek development. The Hilltop office will eventually close. Michael absorbs this new information. How long? 6 months, maybe 8. Nothing's definite yet. But you should know, the commute could get significantly longer. Another complication, but a future one. Right now, Michael focuses on the immediate relief. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. For now, I'm just grateful to have the job. Frank nods, clasping Michael's shoulder. You earned it. And listen, if you ever need a reference for something better, you just call me. That evening, Michael stops at Palmer's grocery on the way home, splurging on ingredients for a celebratory dinner. The security of continued employment lifts a burden from his shoulders, allowing him to breathe easier than he has in weeks. In the produce section, he spots a familiar face, Tanya Evans, the cashier who has watched him carefully count, change and clip coupons for years. "Mr. Donovan," she greets him. "Good to see you. How's Tyler doing after his hospital stay?" "Better, thanks for asking. He's a tough kid." Tanya smiles. "Like his dad. Oh, by the way, we have some day-old bread and bakery items going at half price if you're interested." Even in his moment of relief, Michael appreciates the tip. "Thanks, Tanya. I'll check it out." As he pushes his cart toward the bakery section, Michael passes the bench where he met Sarah Collins. For a moment, he wonders if he'll see her there again, but the bench sits empty in the evening light. At home, Emma greets him with uncharacteristic enthusiasm. "Dad, I submitted my competition entry. Mrs. Williams helped me mount everything and we got it in 2 hours before the deadline." "That's fantastic, Em. I'm so proud of you. They'll announce the winners in 3 weeks. There's going to be a reception at the community center where all the entries will be displayed." Michael sets down his grocery bags. "We'll definitely be there. And I have some good news too. I'm keeping my job when Ramirez takes over." Emma's eyes widen. "Really? That's great, Dad." Tyler emerges from his bedroom at the commotion. "What's happening? Why is everyone happy?" "Dad kept his job and I finished my architecture entry," Emma explains, ruffling her brother's hair affectionately. "Does that mean we can get pizza?" Tyler asks hopefully. Michael laughs. "Actually, I thought I'd cook us a proper dinner tonight. How does that sound?" The evening passes in rare lightheartedness. Michael prepares a simple but hearty meal, and the family eats together, sharing stories from their day. Tyler's breathing is better, Emma is excited about her competition prospects, and Michael allows himself to enjoy the moment of respite. After the kids are in bed, Michael reviews his budget with the new information in mind. The slight pay increase from Ramirez will offset the rent hike, though barely. Tyler's medical expenses remain a concern, but with steady employment, Michael can at least count on regular income to manage them. Frank's warning about the eventual office relocation nags at him. A longer commute would mean higher gas costs and less time with the kids, but that's a problem for future Michael. Tonight, he chooses to focus on the victory at hand. Saturday morning, Michael wakes to the sound of knocking. He opens the door to find a maintenance worker from the apartment. Complex standing in the hallway. "Mr. Jenkins sent me to look at the leaks," the man explains, toolbox in hand. Surprised by the prompt response, Michael shows him the areas of concern. Tyler's bedroom window, a section of the bathroom ceiling, and a corner of the living room, where water seeps in during heavy rainfall. The maintenance worker examines each area, taking notes and photos. "These are coming from the exterior wall and roof. We'll need to patch from outside." He glances at Michael. "Gotta be honest with you, it's not a quick fix. Building needs significant work." "How long before it gets repaired?" The man shrugs. "Depends on budget approvals. Could be weeks, maybe longer." Not the answer Michael hoped for, but at least the process has started. "I appreciate you coming by. My son has asthma and the doctor says these conditions are making it worse. I'll note that in my report. Might speed things up." The maintenance worker hesitates. "Between us, Mr. Jenkins has been putting off repairs all over the building. Management company's finally putting pressure on him after several complaints." After the maintenance worker leaves, Michael takes the kids to the library, a free weekend activity that both enjoy. Emma browses architecture books while Michael helps Tyler with his science homework. The simple outing feels like a luxury after weeks of worry. Sunday brings another visitor, Diane Wilson, with news about her son, Scott's roofing company. "Scott says they're hiring for the spring rush," she tells Michael. "It's temporary work April through September, but the pay is good. Thought you might be interested as a second job or backup option." That's really thoughtful, Diane. I'll give Scott a call. How's the job situation otherwise? Did that Ramirez fellow keep you on? Michael nods. He did. There might be changes down the line, but for now I'm still employed. Thank goodness for that. Diane glances toward Tyler's bedroom, where the kids are playing, and the mold situation. Maintenance came yesterday. No quick fix, but at least they're aware of the problem now. Diane frowns. This building's been neglected for years. Harold Jenkins is more interested in collecting rent than maintaining the place. We don't have many options right now, Michael admits. Moving costs money we don't have. Well, you just let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Those children deserve a healthy home. The following week settles into a new rhythm. Michael adjusts to working under Ramirez's management style, more demanding than Frank's, with higher standards and less patience for errors. The crew is smaller now, the atmosphere more competitive. Several of Michael's former colleagues, including Curtis, have already moved on to other opportunities or are still searching. Wednesday brings parent-teacher conferences at Tyler's school. Grace Mitchell, Tyler's teacher, shares encouraging news about his academic progress despite his health challenges. He's particularly strong in science and mathematics, she tells Michael. His bridge project earned the highest grade in the class. He's been talking about becoming an engineer, Michael says with a smile. That wouldn't surprise me at all. He has a natural aptitude for spatial reasoning and problem solving. Mrs. Mitchell hesitates. I did want to ask, has there been any improvement in his home environment? I know his asthma has been affecting his attendance. We're working on getting the apartment repaired. It's a slow process. Mrs. Mitchell nods sympathetically. I understand. The school nurse is monitoring him closely, and we're making accommodations for his missed days. I appreciate that. Tyler loves school. He hates missing it. It shows. He's a remarkable boy, Mr. Donovan. Both your children are. They've faced challenges that would derail many adults, yet they remain positive and engaged. Pride mingles with a familiar pang of guilt. Michael has always worried about the burden his financial struggles place on his children, the childhood experiences they miss because of limited resources. They're the reason I keep going, he says simply. That night, Michael calls Scott Wilson about the roofing job. The conversation is promising. The temporary position would complement his construction work, allowing him to build up some savings during the warmer months. We start in 3 weeks if you're interested, Scott tells him. It's hard work, but Dad says you're no stranger to that. I'd appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. With the immediate employment crisis resolved and a potential second income on the horizon, Michael allows himself to think beyond day-to-day survival for the first time in months. Emma's architecture competition results will come soon. Tyler's health is stabilizing with the new medication regimen. The apartment repairs are at least on management's radar. Small victories, but significant ones. After years of constant setbacks, Michael recognizes the subtle shift in momentum. Things aren't perfect, far from it, but they're improving incrementally. Friday evening, Michael receives a call from an unfamiliar number. He answers to find Janet Williams, Emma's teacher, on the line. Mr. Donovan, I have some news about Emma's summer program application. I know results weren't supposed to be released until next week, but the director called me today. Michael's heart sinks, preparing for rejection. I see. Emma has been accepted, Mr. Donovan, with a full scholarship. The committee was extremely impressed with her portfolio. The news takes a moment to register. That's wonderful. Does Emma know? Not yet. I wanted to tell you first, give you the chance to share the news with her. After thanking Mrs. Williams profusely, Michael hangs up. excitement building in his chest. Emma's hard work and talent have been recognized, opening a door to opportunities he could never provide on his own. He finds Emma at her desk, sketching as usual. "Hey, Em, got a minute?" She looks up, pencil paused mid-stroke. "What's up?" Mrs. Williams called. Michael pauses, savoring the moment. "You got into the summer architecture program, full scholarship." Emma's expression transforms from confusion to disbelief to joy in the span of seconds. "Really, are you serious?" "Completely serious. The committee was extremely impressed with your work." Emma jumps up, wrapping her arms around Michael in a rare display of teenage enthusiasm. "I can't believe it. I actually got in." "I can believe it. Your talent is obvious to anyone who sees your work." Michael hugs her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, Em." That night, Michael lies awake, reflecting on the events of recent weeks. The job with Ramirez, the potential second income from Scott's roofing company, Emma's scholarship, pieces falling into place after so long adrift in uncertainty. He thinks of the $20 he gave to Sarah Collins, a gesture that seemed financially irresponsible at the time, but morally necessary. Perhaps there's a balance to the universe after all, a way that kindness finds its way back eventually. With that comforting thought, Michael finally drifts to sleep, unaware that across town, Sarah Collins sits in her newly rented room at a halfway house, studying for her GED exam by lamplight, her path forward illuminated by a moment of unexpected generosity from a stranger named Michael. Spring transitions to summer, bringing longer days and new rhythms to the Donovan household. Michael now splits his time between Ramirez Construction during weekdays and Scott Wilson's roofing company on Saturdays. The double schedule is grueling, 6 days of physical labor with only Sundays for rest. But the additional income creates a small financial cushion for the first time in years. Emma's architecture program begins in June. 3 mornings a week, Michael drops her at the community college before heading to work. She thrives in the creative environment, surrounded by peers who share her passion and instructors who nurture her talent. Each evening, she returns home bubbling with new ideas and techniques, her confidence growing visibly with each passing week. Tyler's health improves as the weather warms and the apartment repairs slowly progress. The maintenance crew finally fixed the exterior leaks, and Michael spent a weekend thoroughly cleaning and repainting Tyler's bedroom. The mold has not returned, though Michael remains vigilant, checking corners and windowsills regularly. On a sweltering Thursday in late June, Michael receives a call from Janet Williams while at the construction site. "Mr. Donovan, I wanted to let you know that the architecture competition results will be announced tomorrow evening at the community center. The reception starts at 6. We'll be there," Michael promises. "Has Emma mentioned anything about it lately? She seems to have gone quiet on the subject." Mrs. Williams chuckles. "I think she's trying to manage her expectations. But between us, her entry received very positive feedback from the judges during preliminary reviews." Michael smiles, pride warming his chest. "That's good to hear. Thank you for everything you've done for her. Emma's talent did the work. I just provided guidance." After ending the call, Michael returns to supervising the framing of a new Cedar Creek home. The development is taking shape around them. Luxury houses with sweeping views and high-end finishes. The contrast between these mansions and his own modest apartment is stark, but Michael finds satisfaction in the quality of his work, regardless of who will eventually occupy the space. Victor Ramirez approaches as Michael checks a measurement. In the months since taking over Hilltop Construction, Ramirez has developed a grudging respect for Michael's work ethic and attention to detail. "Donovan, got a minute?" They step aside, away from the noise of nail guns and saws. The Jefferson project is ahead of schedule, Ramirez says, referring to one of the larger homes in the development. "Good work keeping the crew focused despite the heat." "Thank you, sir. They're a solid team," Ramirez nods. Which brings me to my point. I'm opening a second crew next month to keep pace with demand. Need someone to supervise it. He gives Michael an appraising look. Interested? Michael blinks in surprise. Absolutely, I appreciate the opportunity. It comes with a pay bump, Ramirez adds, and you'd have more input on scheduling and materials. Talk to my office manager about the details. As Ramirez walks away, Michael absorbs the unexpected development. A promotion with better pay couldn't have come at a better time. The summer program is developing Emma's skills, but college applications are just around the corner. Every additional dollar helps build toward that future. That evening, Michael shares the news about the competition reception at dinner. So tomorrow's the big night, he says casually. Mrs. Williams called to remind us about the reception. Emma pokes at her pasta, affecting nonchalance. It's not that big a deal. There were a lot of really good entries. Well, I'm excited to see them all, Michael responds, and whatever the outcome, I'm incredibly proud of what you created. Can I come too? Tyler asks. Of course. We're all going to support Emma. Emma glances up. Really? But you have work and then you'd have to change, and I already spoke to Ramirez. I'm taking off an hour early tomorrow. Michael reaches across the table to squeeze her hand. This is important, Em. We wouldn't miss it. A small smile breaks through Emma's careful neutrality. Thanks, Dad. After dinner, while Emma helps Tyler with his summer reading assignment, Michael steps outside to call Scott Wilson, explaining that he'll need to miss Saturday's roofing job due to the promotion at Ramirez Construction. No problem, Mike. Actually, I was going to talk to you about transitioning to part-time anyway, Scott says. You've been a great help during our busy season, but we're caught up on the major projects now. Though Michael had known the roofing work was temporary, the timing is fortunate. Ramirez's promotion will more than compensate for the reduced hours at Scott's company. Friday arrives with a sense of anticipation. Michael works efficiently, mindful of the early departure time. At the Cedar Creek job site, he meets with Ramirez's office manager, reviewing the details of his new supervisory role. The pay increase is substantial, nearly 15%, with the new position starting Monday. By 5:30, Michael is home, showered, and dressed in his best clothes, clean. Khakis and a button-down shirt reserved for special occasions. Emma emerges from her bedroom wearing a simple blue dress that Michael recognizes as one of Mary's, altered to fit her growing frame. You look beautiful, Em, he says, a lump forming in his throat at how much she resembles her mother. Emma blushes, slightly. It's not too much. I wasn't sure what to wear. It's perfect. Tyler bounces into the living room, his hair neatly combed, wearing what he calls his church clothes, though they rarely attend. Are we ready? Emma's going to win, he announces with the certainty only a child can possess. The community center bustles with activity when they arrive. Tables display architectural models, and drawing boards feature detailed plans. Community members, students, and parents mingle while judges circulate with clipboards. Emma immediately spots Mrs. Williams and waves. There's my star pupil, Mrs. Williams says warmly, approaching their family. Your work is displayed in the east corner. The judges have been spending quite a bit of time there. They make their way through the crowd to Emma's display. Her design for the gathering place is beautifully presented. Detailed floor plans, elevation drawings, and a small model constructed from foam core and balsa wood. A written explanation describes her concept of bringing different community groups together through thoughtful architectural design. Emma, this is incredible, Michael says, genuinely amazed at the professional quality of her presentation. When did you build the model? After hours in the architecture lab. Mrs. Williams let me use the materials and equipment. Emma surveys her work with a critical eye. I'm still not sure about the roofline. I wanted it to be distinctive without being impractical. It's perfect, Tyler declares, carefully circling the display. Can we build it for real someday? Emma laughs. Maybe, buddy, if I become an actual architect. When, not if, Michael corrects gently. They spend the next hour viewing the other entries. Some are technically impressive but lack the heart of Emma's design. Others present innovative concepts that spark animated discussion between Emma and Michael. Tyler grows restless until he discovers the refreshment table, strategically positioning himself near the cookies. At 7 o'clock, the head judge, a well-known architect from a neighboring city, calls for attention. The crowd quiets as he approaches a small podium. Thank you all for coming tonight. We've been incredibly impressed by the quality and creativity of this year's entries. Each student has demonstrated remarkable talent and vision for the future. Of community spaces, Emma stands between Michael and Mrs. Williams, her posture tense. Michael places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Before announcing our winners, I want to acknowledge that this competition isn't just about technical skill. It's about understanding how architecture shapes human interaction. The best designs don't just create beautiful buildings, they create meaningful experiences. The judge reviews the honorable mentions first, calling forward 3 students whose names aren't Emma's. Michael feels her shoulder relax slightly beneath his hand, still in the running for the top prizes. Our third place winner, receiving a $100 prize, is James Wilson for his Riverside Market concept. A tall boy from Emma's school steps forward to receive a certificate and envelope, beaming with pride. Our second place winner, receiving a $250 prize, is Alicia Martinez for Urban Oasis Community Garden. A girl Emma's age accepts her award to enthusiastic applause. And now, our first place winner, receiving $500 and automatic acceptance to next year's Advanced Summer Architecture program. The judge pauses, building suspense. Emma Donovan for The Gathering Place. For a moment, Emma doesn't move, frozen in disbelief. Mrs. Williams gently nudges her forward as the room erupts in applause. Michael watches, his vision blurring with tears of pride as his daughter walks to the podium to accept her award. The judge shakes Emma's hand warmly. Exceptional work, young lady. Your design showed not only technical skill, but a deep understanding of how architecture can unite diverse community members. The committee was particularly impressed by your thoughtful integration of spaces for different age groups and needs. As Emma returns to her family's side, clutching her certificate and envelope, Michael engulfs her in a hug. I knew you could do it, he whispers. I'm so incredibly proud of you. We both are, Mrs. Williams adds. Your mother would be too. The mention of Mary, Emma's composure finally breaks. Tears spill down her cheeks as she hugs Michael tightly. I wish she could have seen it. She sees it, Em, Michael says softly. She sees it all. Tyler breaks the emotional moment by launching himself at his sister. You won! You won! I told everyone my sister is going to be a famous architect. The reception continues with community, members congratulating Emma and asking questions about her design. Michael watches with a full heart as she explains her concept articulately, her earlier shyness replaced by confident enthusiasm when discussing her work. Principal Warren approaches Michael during a quiet moment. Mr. Donovan, your daughter has remarkable talent. Have you considered college options yet? It's on our radar, Michael replies carefully. Emma's definitely interested in pursuing architecture. She should be. With this win and her growing portfolio, she could qualify for significant scholarships. Our guidance office can help with applications when the time comes. That would be incredibly helpful. Thank you. As the event winds down, Diane Wilson appears, having arrived late from her book club meeting. Did I miss the big announcement? Emma won first place, Tyler informs her proudly. $500. I never doubted she would, Diane says, embracing Emma. Congratulations, dear. Your design is wonderful. On the drive home, Emma sits quietly in the passenger seat, her award on her lap, seemingly lost in thought. "Everything okay?" Michael asks. "Just thinking," Emma replies, "about what happens next." "What do you mean?" "This feels like the beginning of something." Emma chooses her words carefully. "For the longest time, I convinced myself that college wasn't an option, that architecture was just a daydream. But now you're seeing the possibilities." Michael finishes for her. "Exactly, and it's exciting but also scary." She turns to look at him. "College is expensive, Dad, even with scholarships." "We'll figure it out," Michael says, the familiar phrase carrying more conviction than usual. "Between your talent, scholarships, financial aid, and my new position at Ramirez, we'll make it work. One step at a time." At home, Michael helps Tyler get ready for bed while Emma calls her best friend to share the news. The apartment feels different somehow, filled with possibility rather than limitation. Later, Michael sits at the kitchen table looking through the materials Mrs. Williams provided about architecture programs and scholarship opportunities. The path forward isn't without obstacles, but for the first time, it seems navigable. His phone chimes with a text from Curtis, his former colleague. "Heard about your promotion. Well deserved, man. Dinner soon to celebrate?" Michael smiles, typing, "Back, definitely. Double celebration. Emma won her architecture competition tonight. Like father, like daughter, both moving up in the world." Michael sets down his phone, struck by the change in their circumstances. 6 months ago, he was counting pennies for groceries, uncertain about keeping his job, worried about Tyler's health, and concerned about Emma's future. While challenges remain, the landscape has shifted dramatically. He thinks again of Sarah Collins and the $20 that seemed so crucial yet impossible to spare that day outside Palmer's grocery. He wonders where she is now, whether that small act of kindness made any difference in her life. Some questions have no answers, he supposes. Some connections are meant to be fleeting, yet significant. Tomorrow brings another workday, but Michael faces it with renewed energy. His children are thriving despite past hardships, his employment is secure and advancing, and their home, while modest, is becoming healthier. The burden hasn't disappeared, but it has lightened considerably. For tonight, that's enough. Across town, Sarah Collins gives a presentation to her GED prep class, her confidence growing with each carefully articulated point. Afterward, her instructor pulls her aside. "Sarah, have you considered college? Your academic progress has been remarkable." Sarah's thoughts turn briefly to the man who helped her when no one else would, whose $20 helped her get a meal and shelter that pivotal night. "Actually," she says with new determination, I'm thinking about business administration. I have some ideas about creating opportunities for people who need a second chance." The instructor smiles encouragingly. "With your work ethic and intelligence, I have no doubt you'll succeed." Sarah leaves the community center with purposeful steps. Unaware that her path and Michael Donovan's are destined to cross again, this time with her in a position to give rather than receive. 5 years pass, weaving a tapestry of small triumphs and persistent challenges for the Donovan family. Michael rises through the ranks at Ramirez Construction, eventually becoming operations manager for the entire Cedar Creek development. His competence and reliability prove invaluable as the company expands, earning him not just Victor Ramirez's respect, but genuine appreciation. Emma graduates high school with honors and a substantial scholarship to the State University's prestigious architecture program. Her portfolio, built over years of summer programs and competition wins, opens doors that once seemed firmly closed. Now in her sophomore year, she maintains excellent grades while working part-time in the university's design lab to cover expenses. Beyond her scholarship, Tyler, now 15, inherits his sister's artistic eye, but channels it toward engineering and computer design. His asthma, while not completely resolved, has become manageable with proper medication and the healthier living environment they secured 3 years ago, a modest 3-bedroom rental house in a better neighborhood of Harper's Mill. The move happened after a particularly severe storm caused extensive damage to their apartment building. When Harold Jenkins dragged his feet on repairs, citing insurance complications, Michael made the difficult decision to break their lease. The security deposit and first month's rent for the new place strained their finances temporarily, but the improved living conditions, particularly for Tyler's health, made it worthwhile. On a crisp October morning, Michael sits at his desk in the Ramirez construction office, reviewing project timelines. His phone buzzes with a text from Emma. "Just aced my structural engineering midterm. Call you tonight with details. Love you." Michael smiles, typing back a quick congratulation. These small victories still fill him with immense pride. From his window, he can see the Cedar Creek development, now a thriving community of upscale homes, many of which he helped build. A far cry from those uncertain days when Frank first announced the sale of Hilltop Construction. His assistant, Rosa Martinez, Frank's daughter, who Michael hired when she graduated with her business degree, knocks on his door. "Michael, Victor wants you at the Thompson Enterprises meeting this afternoon. He says you know the West Side revitalization project better than anyone." Michael checks his calendar. "The community center proposal? I thought that was next week." Apparently, Ms. Collins requested an earlier meeting. She's leaving for a business trip Monday and wanted to finalize the details before then. "No problem. What time?" 2 o'clock at their downtown office. "I've updated your schedule." After Rosa leaves, Michael reviews the West Side revitalization project files. The ambitious plan aims to transform Harper's Mill's struggling West Side district, where Michael and his family once lived, through strategic development and community-focused facilities. Ramirez Construction submitted a bid for the centerpiece, a multi-purpose community center designed to serve diverse neighborhood needs. The project represents more than just business for Michael. It's a chance to improve the area where so many families still struggle as his once did. He's pushed for hiring local workers and incorporating affordable housing elements into the broader development plan. At 1:30, Michael drives to the Thompson Enterprises headquarters in downtown Harper's Mill, an impressive glass and steel building that houses the region's most successful development company. He's met with their representatives before, but never their executive director of community initiatives, the mysterious Ms. Collins, who joined the company 4 years ago and rapidly built a reputation for innovative social programs. The receptionist directs Michael to a 6th-floor conference room where Victor Ramirez already waits with the Thompson Enterprises team. Victor nods in greeting. "Donovan, good. I was just explaining our timeline capabilities to Mr. Thompson." Richard Thompson, the silver-haired founder of the company, shakes Michael's hand warmly. "Michael, glad you could join us. We're just waiting for our community initiatives director to arrive. She's the driving force behind this project." They exchange pleasantries about the construction industry and the Cedar Creek development's success. Michael feels at ease with these business leaders now, a confidence built through years of proven results and straight dealing. The conference room door opens, and a woman enters carrying a portfolio and tablet. Michael glances up, then freezes, recognition dawning slowly. Older, more polished, dressed in a tailored business suit, but unmistakably the same woman he once gave $20 to outside Palmer's Grocery. Sarah Collins. She doesn't notice him at first, greeting Richard Thompson and introducing herself to Victor. When she turns to Michael, her professional smile falters briefly, her eyes widening in momentary confusion before composure returns. "Michael Donovan, our operations manager," Victor introduces. He's been instrumental in developing our proposal. For the community center, Miss Collins, Michael manages, extending his hand. A pleasure to meet you. Sarah's handshake is firm, her gaze steady, but filled with unspoken recognition. Likewise, Mr. Donovan. I've heard excellent things about your work. The meeting proceeds with remarkable normalcy given the circumstances. Sarah presents her vision for the community center, a building designed to provide educational resources, health services, job training, and social support for Westside residents. Michael outlines Ramirez Construction's implementation plan, including local hiring initiatives and apprenticeship opportunities. Throughout the presentation, Michael steals glances at Sarah, still processing the extraordinary coincidence. The homeless woman he helped years ago now sits across from him as a polished executive, directing a multi-million-dollar community development project. The universe works in mysterious ways indeed. After the formal proceedings conclude with handshakes and tentative agreements, Sarah approaches Michael as he gathers his materials. Mr. Donovan, could I speak with you privately for a moment? Victor raises an eyebrow but nods his approval before leaving with Richard Thompson to discuss other business matters. When the door closes, leaving them alone in the conference room, silence stretches between them. You don't remember me, do you? Sarah finally asks, though her expression suggests she knows otherwise. Outside Palmer's grocery, Michael says quietly. About 5 years ago. Relief flashes across her face. Yes, you gave me $20 when I was at my lowest point. It was your last $20. How did you... I saw your wallet when you took out the bill. It was empty afterward. Sarah's professional demeanor softens. That $20 bought me dinner and a bus ticket to the Harper's Mill Community Center, where I learned about their transitional housing program. That night changed everything for me. Michael absorbs this information, amazed at how such a small act could spark such significant change. I'm glad it helped, but clearly you did the hard work yourself. I did, Sarah acknowledges. GED, then community college, then a business degree. But that moment of kindness gave me something I'd lost. Hope and the reminder that good people exist in this world. She opens her portfolio, removing a business card and handing it to Michael. I've been looking for you for years, Mr. Donovan. Asked at Palmer's grocery, checked construction companies in the area. I wanted to thank you properly. No thanks necessary, Michael insists. I'm just happy to see you doing so well. Sarah studies him for a moment. Your bid for the community center project is excellent, the best we received, but I'd like to discuss some additional elements that might enhance the community impact. Of course, whatever you think would improve the project. Are you free? Tomorrow morning, perhaps we could meet for coffee and discuss it further. They arrange a meeting time, maintaining professional courtesy while acknowledging the extraordinary circumstances of their reconnection. As Michael drives back to his office, his mind whirls with the unlikely turn of events. Of all the construction managers in Harper's Mill, he never imagined he'd be working with the very woman he once helped outside a grocery store. That evening at home, Michael prepares dinner while Tyler finishes homework at the kitchen table. Their rental house isn't fancy, but it's comfortable and well-maintained, a significant upgrade from the apartment with its persistent mold and neglectful landlord. Dad, can you check my physics problem? Tyler asks, pushing his notebook across the table. Michael reviews the calculations, impressed by his son's growing capability with complex concepts. Looks right to me, but show your work on that force vector. Mrs. Peterson is a stickler for process. I know, Tyler grumbles good-naturedly. Emma says the same thing. Process matters as much as results. Your sister's pretty smart. You should listen to her. Tyler grins. Don't tell her I said so, but she actually is. Her building designs are amazing. The phone rings, and Michael answers to find Emma on the line, eager to share details about her successful exam and a new design project her professor assigned. The conversation flows easily between father and daughter, their relationship having evolved into one of mutual respect and shared interests as Emma has matured. After dinner, with Tyler engrossed in his latest computer game, Michael sits on the back porch, contemplating the day's unexpected development. Meeting Sarah Collins again after all these years feels significant somehow, as if a circle is completing itself. He wonders what tomorrow's coffee meeting will bring. Morning arrives. With autumn Christmas, Michael selects business casual attire for the coffee meeting, not as formal as yesterday's presentation, but professional enough to maintain appropriate boundaries. At the agreed-upon cafe, he finds Sarah already waiting, similarly dressed, in smart but not overly formal clothes. "Good morning, Mr. Donovan," she greets him. "Michael, please." "Michael," she amends with a smile, "and I'm Sarah." They order coffee and find a quiet corner table. Sarah produces architectural drawings of the community center, refined versions of the plans discussed yesterday. "I've been thinking about the workforce development component," she begins. "The original design allocated 1,500 square feet, but I believe we should expand it to include a full trade skills training center." Michael studies the revised plans. "That's a significant expansion. Budget implications?" Thompson Enterprises is prepared to increase funding if Ramirez Construction can match certain community benefit benchmarks. Sarah outlines a proposal involving apprenticeships, job placement services, and subsidized childcare for program participants. As she speaks, Michael recognizes elements that address the very barriers he faced as a struggling single father: lack of affordable childcare, limited training opportunities, inflexible work schedules. "This is impressive," he says sincerely. "You've identified the actual obstacles preventing people from improving their situations." Sarah's expression softens. "Personal experience is a powerful teacher, but I suspect you understand that as well as I do." Their conversation shifts, becoming more personal while maintaining professional respect. Sarah explains her journey after their brief encounter, how the community center connected her with social worker Olivia Taylor, who helped her access temporary housing and educational resources. How Richard Thompson encountered her while she was working as a receptionist at a local business and recognized her potential, offering her a position at his company and mentoring her rise through the ranks. When Richard announced his plans for community development initiatives, I immediately thought of West Side, Sarah explains. I presented a comprehensive proposal for how strategic investment could transform the area while preserving its character and helping current residents. Rather than displacing them through gentrification, Michael observes. Exactly. Development should lift people up, not push them out. Michael shares parts of his own journey: Emma's architecture scholarship, Tyler's improving health, his advancement at Ramirez Construction. He doesn't dwell on the hardships, but acknowledges them as context for their current success. Life has a way of coming full circle, Sarah muses. 5 years ago, I was homeless and hopeless. Now I'm leading a project that will help others facing similar circumstances. And I'm helping build it, Michael adds. After living in West Side and experiencing firsthand what families there need. Their meeting extends beyond the planned hour as they discover shared values and complementary visions for the community center project. By the time they part ways, the professional relationship has been enhanced by mutual respect and the extraordinary circumstances of their reconnection. The following weeks bring frequent communication between Michael and Sarah as they refine the community center plans. Victor Ramirez, impressed by Thompson Enterprises' increased budget allocation, gives Michael full authority to develop the expanded project scope. On a blustery November day, Sarah calls Michael with unexpected news. The board has approved the final budget, including the expanded Workforce Development Center. We're ready to move forward with contracts. That's great news, Michael responds. We can break ground in January, weather permitting. There's more, Sarah continues. The board wants to announce the project at our annual holiday gala next month. They'd like you to attend as Ramirez Construction's representative. Of course. I'd be honored. It's a formal event, Sarah adds, at the Grand Harper Hotel downtown, December 18th. After the call ends, Michael considers the invitation. The Thompson Enterprises Gala is a prestigious affair, attended by business leaders and community figures throughout the region. His presence there would reflect how far he's come professionally, from construction worker to operations manager representing a major company at a high-profile event. That evening, he mentions the invitation to Tyler over dinner. A fancy party. Do you have to wear a tuxedo? Tyler asks, amused by the thought. Not quite that fancy, but a suit, yes. Cool. Emma will be home from college by then. She can help you shop for one. Michael smiles at his son's practical suggestion. I think I can manage shopping for a suit on my own. Dad, no offense, but your style needs Emma's help, Tyler says, with teenage bluntness. Perhaps the boy has a point. Michael's wardrobe has expanded beyond work clothes in recent years, but formal attire isn't his area of expertise. The following weekend, Emma returns from college for a brief visit. When Michael mentions the gala, she insists on accompanying him to select appropriate attire. This is a big deal, Dad, she says as they browse a department store. The Thompson Gala is the event of the season in Harper's Mill. Michael tries on a charcoal gray suit that Emma selected, surprised by how well it fits his frame. Years of construction work have kept him fit, though gray now liberally streaks his hair. You look great, Emma approves. Professional but not stuffy. As they drive home, Emma asks the question Michael has been contemplating himself. So, this Sarah Collins, is she just a business contact? Or is there something more there? Strictly professional, Michael answers, perhaps too quickly. Though there is a connection. I met her briefly years ago when things were tough for both of us. Emma raises an eyebrow, intrigued. Really? What happened? Michael hesitates, then shares the story of giving his last $20 to Sarah outside Palmer's grocery. Emma listens intently, her expression thoughtful. That sounds like you, Dad. Always helping others, even when you had nothing to spare. It was just $20, Michael demurs, but it made a difference, and now you're working together on a project that will help others. Emma smiles. Life has a way of connecting the dots, doesn't it? Indeed it does, Michael thinks. And sometimes those connections lead to places you never expected. The end. Up next, 2 more incredible stories are waiting for you right on your screen. If you enjoyed this one, you won't want to miss this. Just click to watch. And don't forget to subscribe. It would mean a lot.